I want you to understand that Paul wrote this letter to the church in Colossae while he was still in prison. Matter of fact, this was one of the first times that Paul would be in prison, and he will write a letter to the church. It's significant to note this because you should understand that at this point, Paul really had not met these people. The only witness that he had of them were the reports of their testimony of faith in the Lord Jesus Christ and their steadfastness in hope and their love for the brethren. And it's important also to note this because a principle there is this, that it is not always that people have to meet you before they can form an opinion about you. And this is why it is important that we are consistent in our walk with God and in our faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. Because the truth is that people should not be confused about who you are. People should not be confused about your witness and your testimony. Where within 24 hours there are so many shades of you that even when you are described to yourself, you are confused about who they're talking about. And so in verses 4 and 5 in Colossians chapter 1, Paul opens up and says, since we heard about you. Here's the thing, sometimes we don't even need to say a lot. We just need to walk the walk. Let people see you, people hear about you to confirm that you are who you say you are. So Paul says, since we heard about the witness of your faith, since we heard about your testimony, we gave thanks. We give thanks to God because of you, because of your witness, because of your testimony. Saints of God, I want to submit to you this morning that it should always be a joy to hear the stories of salvation, to be glad that Jesus is still saving lives and restoring hearts. And we should be about the business of extending the grace of God. We should be about the business of what? Extending the peace of God. Paul says in verse 3 that he's extending grace. Grace and peace be unto you from the Lord Jesus Christ. And hear me, the privilege that we have been given to access the grace of God is so that we extend it freely to one another, proclaiming the message of the kingdom, to heal the sick, to raise the dead, to drive out demons. Jesus says, freely you have received, freely you should give. Now listen to me, you do not have the say-so on who receives grace or who doesn't. Do you hear me? None of us has the say-so on who receives grace and who doesn't.